The other day, I started to think about cereal commercials and specifically how they would have this one line inserted into the commercials, and the line would be something like a complete part of a balanced breakfast. And when you think about the language, it's both brilliant and meaningless at the same time because a complete part of a balanced breakfast doesn't actually mean anything. But if you're not paying close attention, it gives you this almost impression that the cereal is somehow maybe healthy because a balanced breakfast has there's some imagery there that a balanced breakfast is going to provide nutrition for you. And so on this title slide, I have a screenshot from an old commercial, and we see the super crisp cereal in the background. And by the way, the image is blurry. That just shows you how old the commercial is. But you've got the cereal box behind an array of breakfast items, and they include a pitcher of milk. It looks like a waffle, and there's a glass of orange juice and a few other things that are so blurry I can't tell what they are. But the point is that you have this perfect marketing message that really gives you the feel that cereal is healthy. And so yeah, it's a complete part of a balanced breakfast. Why wouldn't I have cereal? And then maybe this idea that the rest of the breakfast, if we go ahead and look at this factually, maybe the rest of the breakfast is going to carry us through nutritionally. And back when these cereal commercials played, there was this idea that milk and orange juice were healthier. There was this idea that they were healthier than they were, and they provided you more than they did. But the information age was not upon us, so a lot of this went by with no problem. Nobody second guessed it, and I'm sure cereal sales were at an all-time high. And so what I started to as I was thinking about the cereal commercials, what they started to remind me of, what the phrase and the line here, this one liner started to remind me of, is what we see with accessibility overlay widgets. And so that is the title of this PowerPoint presentation. Subtitle is, of course, a complete part of a balanced breakfast. And then we continue on to the next slide where we have the title, but what does that even mean? And so here's the overlay widget version of a complete part of a balanced breakfast. Our maximum accessibility solution is powered by user AI and fully supports WCAG 2.2 and ADA compliance for unrivaled access 24/7. Well, that sounds like it's saying a lot. And we do see some keywords in there. So we see WCAG 2.2 and ADA compliance. But what does fully supports mean? And what does unrivaled access 24/7 mean exactly? Also, what is a maximum accessibility solution? And what part does the user AI play in powering this solution? So when we have this sentence, we seemingly have something that says a lot, but when you actually work through it, it doesn't really say anything at all because there's nothing that we can definitively tie anything to. What does fully supports WCAG 2.2 and ADA compliance mean? And so I have emojis on each of my slides other than the title slide. And for this slide, we have a face with circle eyes where we've got lines and circles, and then we've got a squiggly lips. And I think this emoji just represents confusion and being overwhelmed. And then, by the way, on each of my slides now, I have overlayfactsheet.com, because if you want to look into accessibility overlay widgets, you really don't have to go any further than overlayfactsheet.com, or you can also go to overlayfalseclaims.com. I don't have that on the slides, but that's another good website that I'd highly recommend you read up on. And the links to these two websites will be in the description. But we've started off now with, but what does that even mean? So we're going through these slides. Let's just pretend that we're in a demo and we are being sold on an accessibility overlay widget. So, first slide, what does that even mean? The next slide, so this will fix my website, right? And then the salesman for the overlay widget says we wouldn't have it any other way. Plus, we've got extreme compliance updates uploading for 2026 court cases as soon as possible. We can scan 10,000 pages now and 100,000 pages later. We're back to, but, but what does this mean? And this is the type of language, and these are the type of messages that we encounter with overlay widgets. And so on the slide, I have emoji. It's a smiling emoji that is melting away. And I think there's not really any direct connection here. It's just, we don't know what this means. And, as someone who is potentially buying this accessibility overlay widget because we've heard about website accessibility lawsuits, we don't want to be sued. We're coming across these advertisements and they're telling us they're a solution, and we see ADA compliance in the ad. We don't see anything that directly states they will make our website ADA compliant, or maybe we do, but usually there is some other language involved that gets in. It's in the messaging, so it makes things muddied up. So we'll continue on, and we have this next slide. Okay, but will it stop lawsuits? So we from the second slide we asked, so this will fix my website, right? And then we've got this other answer, and now we continue on, and we're still not sure. So we're asking, okay, hold on, but this will stop lawsuits, right? And the salesman says, sure, friend, our revolutionary mega widget has proven to be a fully backed legal solution for Section 508, Section 504, and ADA compliance legislation. And here we have the emoji where he's looking into the distance and he's pondering something. And by the way, on all these emojis, there's a setting, a small setting circle by the emoji, and you can adjust the settings by the emoji. Like, so there's a little settings, a slight setting circle with 3 different settings that are adjustable, representing the widget. But again, we look at the language, and we still have to ask ourselves, okay, but I've noticed that you've thrown in these different laws. And I see that you're saying that the widget has been proven to be a fully backed legal solution. But I need you to help me understand, what exactly does that mean? We'll continue on with the next slide. And so I have here, wait, so you're saying I won't get sued? And the salesman's reply is, no worries, we've got a lawyer support bundle clause that's buried right here in our terms of service. You wouldn't even notice it, but you can because it's all there. So I won't get sued, or you have a lawyer support bundle in case I do? And we've got emoji here with the emoji's hands covering up the emoji's face, and it's slightly looking peering out of the hands. And here, just as a website owner, just trying to figure this out and get a hold of this and trying to settle making our website ADA compliant once and for all, we're trying to get to the bottom of this. Is this widget going to prevent me from being sued, or do I need to look at something else? And then continuing to the next slide, I have, all right, but you guarantee I won't get sued. And then the overlay salesman says, do you know how many affiliates we have right now? It's like 1 million. And you would never want to bet against a track record like that. Plus, this is all through a single line of code. And then we have the emoji with the anxious face where you can see the teeth. The teeth are showing. And again, what does this mean? Okay, but I know that you have a lot of affiliates, and I'm aware that you have a substantial number of logos that are constantly churning on your website. But are you going to guarantee that I won't get sued if I use your widget? Because that's what I'm buying it for, right? If I'm paying you $50 a month, you're going to I won't get sued, right? That's the whole reason that I'm coming to you as a website owner, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm not a part of website accessibility litigation. I've heard about this. I've heard that other website owners have been sued. I want to make sure I'm not sued either. So if I install your widget, you're saying that I won't get sued, right? And so on this next slide I have, I guess, but what about all of the critics? And this is in reference to the overwhelming numbers, hundreds of accessibility professionals who have spoken out against accessibility overlay widgets. And so we have the title here, I guess, but what about all of the critics? And the overlay salesman says, we've got so many haters, bro. We've revolutionized the industry so bad that they got jealous of our rocket fuel that took us straight to the moon and left them behind without any AI power. And then I've got emoji here with this, which with a dismissed face. And so the eyes are closed and the lips are completely horizontal, just where we have a website owner that is now starting to get tired of this back and forth that's happening, where the website owner is trying to get a straight answer and trying to find out what exactly is going on with this widget and whether or not it will work. Let's say the website owner did come across some negative commentary, but when they bring this up, the overlay salesman just tells the website owners that these are haters, that they're competitors, that they're people that are jealous of their success, and they don't use artificial intelligence. They haven't revolutionized accessibility. And so they're just trying to keep website owners from using widgets. And the website owner has done some research. So then they say, wait, but don't you sell audits now too? And this is where the overlay salesman starts to get ruffled. And he says, seriously, do you not remember the community guidelines we set out for this debate? We all need to agree to have a healthy, respectful dialogue. And here we have the emoji with the steam coming out of the nose to indicate that the person is starting to have had enough with this line of questioning. But it is a good question, because when you look at overlay widget websites now, what they've transitioned to is more of a 360 solution, because widgets now are a part of a bigger plan. It's not the sole focus that is the widget as it once was. The focus now is on the widget being a part of the solution. And so, what has happened is if you look on the overlay widget website, you will find now that there are services that are being offered. And what's become really difficult for the accessibility overlay widget sellers is they now have to both go backwards and forwards at the same time because we have this widget and you really need it, but we can't tell you exactly why you need it because we have to be careful with what we say. But at the same time, we also need to sell services, and but there's also our widget. So if I'm buying your widget, then what are you selling services for? Because I thought your widget was this complete solution. Are you telling me now that it's not the complete solution? Okay, well, it's a part of the solution. Well, what part is it playing? And why do I need the audit? Do I need to get the audit? Do I need to remediate my website? Okay, if I do need to remediate my website, then what is the widget doing? Is the widget making automatic fixes? Is it on all of the time? How is the widget working with the services? Let's say I use the services. Does it work with them? How is this all fitting together? Because this is I thought it was an automated solution for ADA compliance, and I wouldn't get sued if I was using it. But now you're telling me that it's a part of something else? Is this a complete suite of tools and services? Okay, then can you tell me exactly where each starts and each ends? Because this is starting to get confusing. Let's continue on with the next slide. Now, remember on the previous slide, the salesman was starting to get ruffled. And he said, "Seriously, do you not remember the community guidelines we set out for this debate? We need to all agree to have a healthy, respectful dialogue." And then, as the website owner, the response is, "Debate? This is a demo for your widget." And the salesman responds, "We know the awesome power of our number one leading solution for ADA compliance, but of the many accessibility debates that we've all won, right now we're wondering if you've got what it takes." And then as the website owner, you're now trying to figure out, what is this all a joke? Like, what is actually going on here? Why can I not get a straight answer throughout this entire demo? I'm asking you very simple questions, and I can't seem to get a single straight answer from you. And on this slide, the emoji is surrounded by a cloud of smoke. And this, I don't even know what I meant by the cloud of smoke, but here I think it's just that the website owner is trying to figure out what is going on through this cloud of dust and language and debris that the overlay widget seller continues to kick up, but there's nothing is ever settled. We just continue on in this circle of ambiguity and keywords and slogans and phrases, but I can never figure out, is this what's necessary for me to make my website WCAG conformant? Is this going to stop lawsuits? Because that's what I'm here for. If you can tell me that you can stop lawsuits, and has a website owner with your widget installed ever been sued? If you can tell me right now that I won't get sued if I'm using your widget, I'm going to buy it. And then, so remember, the salesman had said in this last slide, "We know the awesome power of our number one leading solution for ADA compliance, but of the many accessibility debates that we've all won. Right now, we're wondering if you've got what it takes. And so, as the website owner, on the next slide, which is the last slide, the question is, can you just tell me if this stupid thing actually works? To which the salesman replies, we can't be clear enough. Our leading AI solution can empower your website to be inclusive with just a single line of code. And this is where we end with a smiley face emoji with a tear in one eye, because as the website owner, you are now even more confused after the demo as you were when you started it.